Ironwood Games. This is Andrew. Welcome to our arena video here. Today, it looks like the quick draft is Crimson Vow. So we're going to jump in, and I don't think we've done a quick draft. We haven't done an arena draft of Crimson Vow. I think I've done one in-person draft of Crimson Vow, but it may have been a sealed that we did instead. So I'm not super familiar with the archetypes. Or really all the cards. I know there's some, it does some, the mechanics. There's the vampire kind of tropes, the blood tokens, and that. So we're gonna go in. We're gonna see what we can do. I will apologize. It's quick draft, so there's no pick timers. So it may be a little bit longer of a draft video, just because I might have to go through a few more cards and try and evaluate them. But we're gonna do that. We're gonna go in for some gems and see if we can't get some wins out of it. So it is quick draft. It is against the bots. So we'll see what we get. We'll start look at the rare here. So it takes damage. It reflects it to anyone else. So a lot of these double-sided cards are mirrored on the front and the back, but sometimes they are different. So it looks like this first part, and these are the same. The front side just gets +2 plus. No, it looks like it is the same. So it just gets bigger. Oh, I see. On the back side, it's any permanent on that. So it does get a little bit bigger. Seems good. The cost is a little prohibitive in red, but it seems like a good card. Groom's Finery is doesn't seem like a great. It's interesting, but I don't know if there's an equipment sub theme. Undead Butler is interesting if we're playing Graveyard, Recursion, and or Graveyard Mechanics, which again I don't know all of the sets how prevalent that is. I'm sure in a Strahd set there's plenty of recursion and things that you want in the graveyard or can do from the graveyard. Rending Flame is pretty good. 3 mana for 5 damage isn't bad. I think if we picked up a red card, we'd probably pick up the rare that just seems like, A, it's a creature and seems better. These seem pretty decent, though. Griff Rider. Oh, yeah, they have training. I think Coven was in Midnight Hunt, but the training here is they get bigger if a bigger creature attacks with it. Lifelink. Disturbed. That's right. They come back as enchantments. That's just a generic thing. That's a pretty basic thing. Anti-zombies. 2 cards in their hand, and hand hate, but it's not really a kill spell. Bleed Dry is essentially a kill spell. And it works against like Indestructible. At 4 mana with the double black, I don't know that it's great. Flame Blessed Bolt is pretty good. It's a shock. So there's some removal here. Lifegame Flourishing Hunter is okay. Again, mill graveyard stuff for the Centipede, so maybe black-green mill is a deck there. Land. Oh, okay, so it's an interesting enchantment. Either makes a creature +2/+2 or a land generate extra mana. I don't know if it's great. I think my pick is between the Loner, the Undead Butler, and the Bleed Dry. The greens aren't bad, but nothing amazing. The whites, the same way. Flying Training just seems kind of meh. And the lifelink is interesting, and Disturb, and I don't know how much. Again, with like Undead Butler, Disturb things could be a good combo, but I'd rather have, I think, Undead Butler, the creature in that. None of the blue ones really interest me. Rending Flame, a little bit better than Bolt. Bolt being a common comes back a little bit more. The only thing that really maybe concerns me or puts me off is the double costs in these. But I do think this one getting to be aggressive and kind of redirects damage or kind of bounce damage into other things makes me think it'd be fun. I think we're going to take it and see what else is open and what comes back, because like depending on what the other drafters take, right? If the Rending Flame comes back, that'd be really amazing and interesting. But even a Bolt coming back could go with that. And if not, there's other things that could come back that might tell us, like if Undead Butler comes back, that's something. Bleed Dry, even Aim for the Head would be decent if we were in like black. And I think any of these, well, these two green creatures at least would be interesting. And coming back, so that might tell us something about a little bit about what's open as well. I really don't know that I would want to be in red black with both of these doubles, but we'll see. The blood tokens also, I know, let you discard cards, so keeping an eye on like Disturb, things that do stuff from the graveyard, as that might be pretty powerful in this set here. So as I said, we're already one pick, 7 minutes in. I apologize if you're not interested in kind of me going through the cards or seeing my evaluation. I've played with some of these. Like I played Blood Fountain in one of the festivals for blood tokens. I've played I don't know, mulch, so I've played a bunch of these cards. Syncopate, some of them are known, but then some are new. So let's see. Voldaren Estate. Pay 1, add 1 mana enemy color, spend this mana only cast a vampire spell, so, and then 5, create a blood token. This costs less for every vampire. I assume typical vampires in black-red and Innistrad, I assume they would still be there. So that seems decent if you want to go into like a vampire deck. The thing that was taken out of here was either a common or a foil. So this definitely goes into a graveyard type deck. Target creation opponent gets -2/-2 until if that opponent controls no other creatures. That seems not that good. Crawling Infestation is interesting, but it only triggers once, so you're getting 1 green insect a turn. You could get them on like your opponent's turn for blocking, but I don't know that it's great and speaks to me of like this is where we want to be. Oh yeah, Cleave. I do not like Cleave. It's confusing to me and I don't think well done as a mechanic. However, Fierce Retribution is pretty good. Destroy a attacking creature for 2. 6 mana to destroy anything is a little bit much, but it is removal in white. Blood Fountain. I don't know that that's good. Creature gets +2/+0. In the festivities, it's interesting, but I don't know whether there's a lot of one toughness things that you're worried about your opponents going wide. Witch's Web is definitely decent. Like Blood Fountain is also fine. In like Mill and other things, I kind of want to take the Fierce Retribution, just as removal, because there's some decent things, but like I know there's also some indestructible vampire effects, giving. I don't know if there's any hexproof types effects and other things, so I don't know that that's worth it. Voldaren Estate wants to be, again, with the vampires. I mean, even 2 or 3 vampires and just creating a blood token seems decent. The Bloodthorn Squire, it's like a take on, what's it called? Not reanimate. Regenerate. On this, you tap it, it gains indestructible, but then it does transform and can be pretty good. And it enables the discard outlets. So if we don't take the estate and we get a creature, like this creature is decent regardless of where we're at. If we take the estate and we don't end up in vampires, this card doesn't make our deck, and isn't good. So I think, again, it's between the Bloodsworn Vampire and the Fierce Retribution. And I don't know enough about the set to know if this is good or not. But I think if we've got a red card, because we could take like just the red card to go to force red. But I think a 3-mana 2/2 with haste is mid. That we don't need it. So I think this Bloodthorn Squire is the pick. You could also see like the Witch's Web as a decent take. And then, I mean, maybe that estate wheels. If nobody else is in vampires or thinking that's good. I don't know what the bots rank all these different things. But based on what we're seeing, and I'm not, like, Disturb is good in getting extra value. I'm not certain how good it is, so I know that's hard to evaluate as well. Because you could just look at, like, this infantry again, but I think I would take the Fierce Retribution over the infantry. So, yeah, I'm going to take that Empire. Let's see. Dread Fugue. Target player removes an online card. Player discards a card. So Hand Disruption, which is interesting. Vile Spawn Spider. Each creature card. So that's kind of a go wide creatures thing. I don't see it. When it attacks, you can pay to make it indestructible. You have to do that, decide that before. So it's interesting, but I don't know if great. Put its counters on target creature you control. So the training is kind of good there. The Alchemist Retrieval is a decent cleave card. I really do like the blue monsters that can't be blocked, and this having Ward 2 actually speaks to me, and this seems kind of good. Lantern Bearer. Actually seems like a decent disturb as well. So it looks like maybe blue-white is disturb. And blue, green, black have some mill things. I think white, green is training. All right, we're figuring it out. Scattered Thoughts is interesting. Another Aim for the Head. Doom to Center is just decent value. You do get that extra token. Where X is 1 plus the number of cards named Ancestral Anger in your graveyard. Draw a card. I don't know how good this is either. It is sorcery speed. It does replace itself, and it gets better if you have more of them. So it's one that kind of leads me to like, well, what if we took it early, and see if we can't get 2 or 3 or 4 of them. But then those are all my slots, and they're not combat tricks. So I don't know that that's good enough. Dawnheart Disciple is interesting, but I'd rather take like the trainee, or even the Shields Basher, I think, over it. I really like this. It might be, to me, the best card in the pack. But it is 6 mana, and it does want to go in a little bit more control-y deck as kind of the finisher there, where like Lantern Bearer might just be better. At this point, we're kind of trying to take the best card in the pack and decide like what's open, what's good. I don't feel like I'm missing anything amazing by taking this guy. The Doom to Center, I think, is just the other. If I wanted to stick with one of my colors, I think is just probably the best in the colors. A Dread Fugue is okay. You really want to be able to get rid of anything. So then it's a 3 mana spell. And that's why I don't like the Cleave, is they're hard to kind of cost. But we're going to take the Monstrosity and keep our options open. Whispering Wizard actually seems pretty good. Let's see. It deals 3 damage to any target. A 6 mana red, that's the only red spell here, doesn't really give me good hopes on seeing a lot of red. The same thing with this white trainee, not huge on white. There's some decent black. This Crawling Infestation, we've seen a Flourishing Hunter before. The Sporeback Wolf is okay. It becomes a 2/4 on our turn, but again, not great. The Desperate Farmer is actually pretty good with the lifelink, becoming a 4/3. Bloodcrazed Socialite, sacrifice blood token. It Menace 4/4 for 3 is not bad. It creates a blood token. Undying Malice is okay, but nothing great. I think, yeah, I don't think Stitched Assistant is necessarily great. It's much better if we have like Whispering Wizard. So Whispering Wizard wants to go in a blue control type deck, with like Syncopates and other things, which I'm not good at playing, and I'm really not good at drafting. But we did get this Monstrosity that kind of fits in that same deck. Or we can hedge our bets and kind of take, there's a decent black. There's 2 good black cards and a combat trick in here as well, and kind of say, well, maybe black is a little bit more open than blue. Not seeing a ton of good things, but draw and other stuff can be decent. Whenever another creature you control dies, transform it. Bloodsworn Squire. kind of decent in like Sackett stuff. Do we take the Socialite Vampire? Ugh. I'm gonna take the Desperate Farmer. Speaks to me as the best pick here. I don't know that that's right, but then again, I don't know that anything is right or good or anything. This card is really good if you can. I think cards like this are good if you can build around it. Right now we have everything is square toughness, power toughness. So it'd be kind of a pivot. We've seen decent green and we've seen decent black. So green black might be open. It's not a bad card to take. Again, I'm kind of hedging our bets. I don't think that's a good card. This would be interesting if we were going either blue-red or blue-white-red non-creatures. But I don't think those are great. Bramble Armor is actually pretty good as a non-creature spell. Doing another target creature gains Death Touch. Weaver of Blossoms can be pretty good. And it's a 2/3. It's off things for the Ancient Lumber Knot. The Undying Malice is a decent trick. I think we are going to take this Lumber Knot. And see, but we're seeing it looks like, I mean, we have all three of these green cards I think are good. And there's a good black card. Probably some of the better cards in the thing. Evolving Wilds is decent as well, just to color fix. And then if we get rid of our red and our blue, because those were our double pips, besides that new one, we're kind of doing good there as well. Okay, go away. What are you doing? I don't know. I've grabbed a card somehow. These things happen, and it kind of... So Adamant Will, yeah, another indestructible effect. So it's, like we said, kind of that destruction could be bad. Alchemist Retrieval, an interesting, if we wanted to go into that non-creature deck, decent. Cradle of Safety, again, would play into that. So we're seeing some decent black. Persistent Specimen is just good. As you get recursion on it. The Witch might be the best. Let's see, what does Wolf Strike say? If it's night, then it deals to a creature you don't control. Is it an instant? It is an instant. That Wolf Strike seems pretty good. But I kind of like the Ragged Recluse and the Odious Witch as just a good 2-drop. Because we're not necessarily committed to playing green. And we could still end up like black-blue with some of these things. Or I think we could pick up Wolf Strikes later on. So I think we're going to pick up... oops. Well, not really oops. I clicked there to see if we could get rid of that thing. And no, it still thinks we're wanting to hold the Ill-Tempered Loner for some reason. Yeah, we're just going to hold that in our hand the rest of the draft. That's fine. Counter target spell unless the controller pays 3. So seeing some of that becomes night, discard and then draw that many cards. That's actually not too bad in white. Rot Tide, Gargantua. Each opponent sacks a creature. Could be pretty decent. Toxic Scorpion. Ceremonial Knife. The creature deals combat damage, create a blood token. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Doesn't really go into our Lumber Knot plan, but we don't see anything that does. We could take the Gargantua. It wants to have a little bit more in terms of like creatures and other things because it does want to be able to exploit, particularly something cheap. I don't know that we want to do that. Toxic Scorpion is a good thing to like put down and then exploit when it's not good. I don't think I want Blinding Geist. I think I would take the Geistlight Snare over that. But given kind of what we have, I think we either take the Gargantua as just a bigger potential finisher, or the Toxic Scorpion to get into some green. And I don't know. Another target creature you control gains Death Touch. Alright, we're going to do it. I'm going to take the black. Alright. Deals that much damage to each target. That's kind of good in the red, but create 2 blood tokens is okay. That one's actually fine. A 5/5 or 4/4 for 5 with menace is decent. Lightning Wolf can be pretty good too. Cradle of Safety is good if we were playing again in like the blue, or blue-white, something that can be good. Blue-red. But we may have moved too far away from that. And we have, I mean, I don't know that we have moved too far away from it. We have a whole nother pack to figure out where we want to be, and where we are. Just, we haven't seen any other reds, but now we have, I mean, a couple of decent reds. Remove that many +1/+1 counters. I don't know that that's actually good. It redirects damage, but it can die pretty quickly too. I think the Celebrants is just better if we wanted to take, like, again, if we're looking at taking the best card in the pack. But I do like the Odious Witch if we wanted to stick a little bit more to what we've been doing. Persistent Specimen is fine. Or we could, like, hedge on the Cradle, but I think... And so here we go. This is our opening pack that we said kind of whatever comes back will be interesting and telling as well. Yeah, I don't think that's, again, good enough for us. We might aim for the head just because it's an interesting... It's really a sideboard card. Because you can get your opponent to discard 2 cards, but I don't think it's worth it. Mana Fixing is interesting. If this had like Flash or was slightly better for each creature, it's expensive at 5, but again, later on, if you've been trading things off, letting things die, I think it's fine. Yeah, we're gonna take it. And here's where we kind of decide again if we wanted to take some of those other pieces and be open to like that deck, but I don't think we're going to see any of the, in that next one, we're not going to see that. Some of the, the good P cards come back, and so it's just kind of hedging for now to take other stuff. I think Witch's Web is good here as a combat trick if we're playing this deck. Yeah, like Scattered, and there's some decent things in that, but I think we could have been there. I think we'll take the Cleave. Oh my goodness, I don't know what I've done now. Let's confirm that pick. But we're gonna put it in the sideboard. Yeah, we'll take. I don't need a ton of hunters, but I will take one. Bramble Armor's pretty good. I'll take that. And we'll take a Cradle. So, unless we see something that really shifts us, I think we're going to put Cradle and Monstrosity, and I'd love to put this Ill-Tempered Loner in here as well, but it's staying in our hand for now. That's just fun. Howpack Piper, actually an amazing card. Sneaking a creature in, especially some of these bigger ones, really, really good. Moldgraph Millipede, like, just makes these higher end cards really good. Sacrifice against Trample. I'm not sure how I feel about that one, but I just know this card is just really, really good, and we could then bring in like our Dreadlight Monstrosity and other stuff because we don't need to be able to pay for it. We just put cards onto the battlefield. Can only do that during day, but you get card advantage at night on the backside. So kind of see what else is in here, because the Phalanx is okay. Well, actually, the Phalanx would go really well with the Ancient Lumberknot. This is probably likely to wheel. I don't know that it's going to be highly sought after. Any of these green cards, I think I'd be fine with. Yeah, the Heron Blessed Geist is okay on that. So we would even take another Monstrosity with this guy, but that's just a really good card to be able to cheat stuff in. I mean, even our Ill-Tempered Loner can then fit in. Let's see, we don't need a blue-red land. Wash Away is interesting. Child of the Pack, good for sinks later on, is decent. I could see splashing the red for it, so we might pick it up just because it fits in with what we're doing. Over if there's nothing else that's really good, you draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, then create a blood token. I think I will. I think it's good enough that if we end up with some more decent red, it's worth looking at. Each non-vampire creature. Brambleworm, I think, is the pick. We already have a Rot Tide. Grizzly Ritual is pretty good, but it's 6 mana. It's just a little high. And cheating in something like this, and then having graveyard effects for it, I think is just a little bit better. And now, yeah, we're seeing, so there's a lot of red, but that's because red was cut going left, so coming the other way, it kind of makes sense. So there's like an argument for like just taking the Millipede. But we already have one, and if I'm going to take other big things, I don't necessarily want it. We could take Mulch, but I really don't like this card. It does put stuff in our graveyard, which can be good, and dig us into some lands. Is that better than taking just a medium red card? I don't know. Lands go into hand, so it's not ramp. I mean, we're not super tied to black either, so I think we are going to take this best card that is red. So if we had taken that Groom's Finery, we could take the Bride's Gown to go with it, but I don't think it's worth it. Sheltered Boughs, actually, with Ancient Lumberknot can be pretty decent. It replaces itself. It's not bad to begin with. Point of Discussion is interesting, but I don't know that we need to be there. Toxic Scorpion is good, but I'm going to take the Sheltered Boughs. Gift of Fangs. I don't know that I love. In fact, I really don't. I think I'll take the Mulch over it, because we may or may not even play the Mulch. I don't know. Gluttonous Guest. Is this one I like? A blood token where you sacrifice a blood token, gain a life. It plays well with the Lumberknot as a 1/4. The Blood Fountain's not a bad consideration. The Snarling Wolf is okay. And the Darnheart Disciple is... no. I would take the Wolf, I think, over it. But I don't need a ton of small things. So we'll take that. Honored Heirloom. Add 1 mana of any color. Exit tile card from a graveyard. I think we're going to take that. It lets us maybe splash our red a little bit easier. And remove some things. The Spore Back would be maybe the other choice. Okay, here's where, yeah, almost everything. So there's white left. I don't know that I want a second Dreadlight Monstrosity. I don't know that I want a second Moldcraft Millipede either, so I think I'll take the Lacerate Flesh. Blood Servitor, I think, is fine. If we want red, we want it to be a splash, I think. Well, it looks like we have enough black that it'll be a bit more of a splash. I'm gonna take the Scob, this flying one, because again, if we do like go into cheat mode, it just seems a little bit better. I mean, neither one of these do anything for us, so I guess we'll just take that to the sideboard. And the same thing. All right, so here's what we've got. Patchwork Crawler, exile target creature card from... That's interesting. Definitely not where we're at. We could get another Bloodthorn Squire. Cartographers put up to 2 lands from on the battlefield tapped. That actually seems pretty good because it does ramp us. The Royal Recruit is interesting. I don't think great. I would take an Undying Malice or a Grisly Ritual. But I think we'll take the Survey. The Infestation Expert seems fine. I have plenty of 5s. So for that reason, I think I really just want to take another Desperate Farmer. It's a good card, and it's gonna get me it would get me stuff, but I think just the farmer getting on the battlefield, giving me something a little bit earlier is going to be good. Here, I think the Bleed Dry just for removal is way better. Sawblade Slinger fights target zombie and opponent controls. Yeah, this is just going to be a better, I think, pick. I might take another Child of the Pack. I don't know that I need 2 of them. We could take Apprentice Sharpshooter. It has reach and training. It can grow. We could take another Witch's Web. I could take another Desperate Farmer. But I do already have 2. And I think we don't want to go too crazy in the red. So I think the Sharpshooter is good. Lantern of the Lost. Exile target card. Exile all cards from our graveyards, then draw a card. Here is where we could definitely take a Grisly Ritual. We could take an Evolving Wilds if we want to really try and get that red splash. But we're at 27, so if we cut the 3 red, which we'll probably do, that puts us at a 23. And then we can cut like Honored Heirloom. Blood Servitor is probably not worth it. It is a little expensive at 6, and we could just get another like Apprentice Sharpshooter. But I think having 1 just straight up removal is fine. Here I don't need another 6 thing, so we'll take the Recluse. Stromkirk. I kind of want to take the rare just because I don't know how many of these Recluses I want to play. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to be a little greedy for a minute. Okay, now this is an interesting one because we have Persistent Specimen, the Rot-Tide Gargantua, which we already have 1, and it really wants something like Persistent Specimen to sack. The Bramble Armor is okay, but again, we already have 1. I don't know that we need a second one, and Witch's Web. We're going to take this Persistent Specimen. We do want that. Here, that is going to be sideboard. Here we will take... we already had a Grisly Ritual. Does it matter? I don't see playing 2 of those, so we'll take that for the sideboard. Did I already get the other Blood Crazed Socialite? I didn't, so we're going to pick this one up. It is a good card. I did kind of want the Undying Malice there. But we have to make choices. And they're not always easy choices. Alright, let's see if our Ill-Tempered Loner cursor will go away now. Which I hope it will, because we're going to another scene. It looks like it did. Okay. So how do I have 41 cards? Oh, because I have you and I have you. Okay, so let's first see if there's anything we'd want to cut. Bramble Armor is not really a 2-drop because you don't get your free attachment. So we don't have a lot of like low early curves, so we need all of our 3-drops, I think. Our 4-drops are fine. I mean, we're very high on the curve here, so let's see. Do we want like an Honored Heirloom just to have another 3-drop, and that does potentially ramp us into some bigger things? And we can use it to exile problematic disturb cards and things from graveyards. Because I don't think we need another 4-drop. And I don't think we need the Dread Fugue. The other option, again, is like the Child of the Pack. But outside of creating the wolves, I don't know that it's necessary. The other question is if we're wanting to put anything else in, but all of our interesting things to cheat have double colors outside of like the Celebrants. Is that better than let's see, how many creatures do we have? 16, so 15 if we took that out. Is that better than a Rot-Tide Gargantua? It does mess up our mana a little bit. I don't think it is. I think keeping this safe here. We could always bring in like a Blood Servitor too, if we really wanted another creature a little lower, if we wanted to take something out. But I think both of these are good. We want the other effects. Yeah, I like this. All right, we're going to keep it just like this. Done. All right, guys. So thanks for watching the draft portion here. We're going to jump into a couple of games here, but I'll record those separately. So for those that didn't watch the full draft or just wanted to get to the games, they'll be able to join us. So we'll see you.